Hey everybody, it's Beth from Yoga and Reiki Bliss, and I'm popping in today with a brief practice that will give us an opportunity to connect to the breath, to feel where we are experiencing the breath, all as a way to A, be connected to the breath, and two, be connected to the present moment, because we know that the breath happens in the present moment. So anytime we come back to the breath, we're coming back to ourselves, right? It's a moment to connect. We're coming back to the present. So for your practice today, you'll need a couple of blocks or books. You'll need a blanket and you'll need a strap. A belt will do, a scarf will do, a tie will do. Okay, let's hop on the mat. And so I think we should sit up a little bit high today. So you could sit in a chair if you wanted to use a chair, but you could also use a block and a blanket. I'm placing my block on the low height. And I'm turning it so one of the corners faces forward for me to sit on. And then I'm going to take my blanket, fold it in half, so it's smaller, more almost like a square, like a book. And I'm going to put that on top with one of the corners facing forward. And then I'm going to come to sit. And I would encourage you to sit in a comfortable position. So if Sukhasana isn't comfortable for your hips or knees, you could do soles of the feet together, like Baddha Konasana. You could have your feet flat on the ground. You could just even hold your shins lightly. You could sit on your shins in Virasana. But I'm going to start in Sukhasana. And what I'd love for you to try to find in any seat that you're in is that you're sitting a little forward of your sitting bones, those two knobby bones in the bottom of your pelvis toward the back of it, and that you could drop the front of the pelvis a little bit. So mine is just kind of edging off the corner of the block so that my pelvis is upright, my lower back is in its natural curve, the rest of my spine in its natural curve. Even even the neck has its little inner curve. And just for a moment, we'll take 3 breaths just to know we're breathing. And then we'll take your strap. And we're going to take your strap around your rib cage. And you'll crisscross it in the front, right at the bottom of your sternum. And as you crisscross it and you're holding it, bring a little bit of tension or sense of tautness to the strap so you can feel the pressure of it against your rib cage. And then take again a few rounds of breath and see where you feel see where you feel your breath most predominantly against the circumference of the strap. And then from wherever you're breathing, could you invite the breath now to try and move into the circumference of the strap as evenly as possible and without a ton of effort on your part. So don't you feel like you're over breathing, but I would like you to try to experience that breath in 360 degrees around yourself. Let's take one more breath with that thought. And then from here, go ahead and lift your sternum toward the sky, like a little back bend. And as you breathe, notice where you feel the breath when you make this little back bend. Does it feel the same as when you were just sitting, or does it shift anywhere in particular? And then go ahead and Curl your tailbone under a bit, round your low back. You can even let your upper back round, your head drop in, like a little mini cat pose. And again, take a few rounds of breath just to notice as you change the shape of the spine and thus the container of the breath, the rib cage, how does that change the breathing? And then we'll breathe the pelvis, the spine all the way upright. Invite a little side bend to your right. So as the right side shortens and the left side lengthens, again, how do you experience your breath here? Where do you feel it against the strap? And breathe your way up and check it in on the other side. And then breathe your spine, your ribs back up. Make a twist to your right, please. Keep that tension in the strap. And where does the breath show up against the strap most clearly? And then we'll breathe back to center and to the other side with the same thought. And then we'll breathe back to the center. Okay, go ahead and take your strap off. Keep it available, but we don't need it right now. And then let's come onto your hands and your knees. And as you come out into table, you can slip your blocks right up to the front of your mat. You could put a blanket underneath your knees. And let's set this up quite nicely where we slip the hands under your shoulders, your hips, your knees under your hips. And what I'm hoping is that your limbs can support the length of your spine, right? Rather than bringing things too close where your spine just gets a little shortened. Like for me, it feels almost like I'm moving toward cat pose. Bring your hands out so you can really shift the weight, your pelvis over your knees, your shoulders over your wrists, and the spine nice and long. Let's welcome a breath in and let's move with the breath. As you exhale, curl your tail round your spine, find a little cat. And as you inhale, we'll lift the tail, lift the heart. You can just keep the nice support of your arms, your thighs. Keep that framework. As you exhale, curl and round. Give a little push into your hands, your shins. As you breathe in, lift the tail, lift the heart. Let's do that 2 more times, just riding the wave of your breath. Then let's come back to neutral. Tuck your toes. And from here, we're going to rock your hips toward your heels. We'll keep the hands nice and far out in front, your fingertips rooted, and then breathe your way back up. And then as you exhale, we'll rock back. Inhale forward 2 more times. Great. Next time you come up, stay. And let's step your right foot forward and give it a little scooch forward. You can even climb your hands up onto your blocks. From here, rock your pelvis a little towards your front heel. But then as you're here, give a little hug of your front heel back towards your left knee forward towards your right heel. And then let that go, rock your hips back. Again, as you inhale, we'll rock forward, hug the knee and the heel towards each other. As you exhale, rock back. One more time, little hug. And then I'd love you to stay a moment. And start to walk even up onto your fingerprints and start to lift your chest up. And welcome a long breath. Again, feel where the breath goes. If you had the strap around you, where would you feel it? And then rock your hips back. And see if you can let your front leg lengthen a bit. Stay a couple breaths. Again, if the strap were around your ribs, where would you feel that sense of expansion and the sense of softening of the exhale? Then as you breathe in, come on forward. Let's tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. We'll come into a lunge. And then we'll plant your hands down. And we'll step right into plank pose. And give yourself a few rounds of breath as you push the ground away, as you reach through your heels. And even add maybe a soft bit of a cat pose through your pelvis. And take a few rounds of breath. How does the breath show up when you've got a fair amount of engagement through your abdominal muscles? And then we'll ease the knees down. And we'll step your left foot forward. Good. You can climb your hands up onto your block just to get a little more length out of your ribs. And glide your pelvis a little forward just to sense a little stretch in the front of your right thigh. And then give a little hug of your right knee forward, your left heel back. And then let that go and rock your hips back. You can flex your front ankle. That juices up the calf muscles for you. We'll rock forward with that knee to heel hug. And we'll rock back. And one more time, we'll rock forward and then stay a moment. Again, rise up to your fingertips. Start to lift your sternum toward the sky. And welcome a few rounds of breath. See if you can let your shoulders stay soft, your neck easy, your throat easy. And one more breath. And then we'll draw your hips back and lengthen your front leg. And as you hinge the pelvis, you can wiggle a little length out of your ribs, but then do let a little softness creep in. Head soft, upper back soft. And feel your breath. And then as you breathe in, we'll rock forward again. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. You've got your lunge. And then we'll float your hands to the ground. And this time we'll step back to downward dog. See if you can find a nice long sense of your spine here. Push from your hands as you reach from your hips. Right, reaching your hips up and back to create that feeling of length. And take one more breath. And as you inhale, shift forward, plank pose. Right from your plank, can you bring your right knee towards your chest? Push the ground away, step your right foot forward. And if you need to, you could always come through table to do that. And bring your right heel to the ground. Slide your left hand up onto a block. And as you breathe in, you're going to reach your right arm forward. Go ahead and take that arm out to the right. Swing it back toward your right hip. And you can let your gaze turn. You can let your shoulders turn toward toward the right, excuse me. And then sweep your arm forward. Now reach it over to the left and you can curve your spine. You can even look a little towards your left toes. As you exhale, sweep out to the right and back by your hip, a little curve toward the right. As you inhale, sweep forward and around to the left. One more time, we'll sweep out and back to the right, and then pause for a sec. Find your breath here. And then sweep it on forward and over to the other side. So you're reaching a little curve to the left. See if you can feel your breath come in and go out. What's it feel like on the right side versus the left? And then breathe your way back to the center. Plant your two hands. Step into plank. So strong push as you step your right foot back. Keep pushing. Keep your thighs engaged, like you're trying to keep your knees super straight so you feel your quads working. And then bring your left knee forward. Push the ground away. Step your left foot forward. Then climb your right hand up into a block. Breathe your left arm forward. Again, we'll move with the breath. As you exhale, sweep out and back toward your left hip. As you inhale, sweep forward and a little curve to the right. As you exhale, sweep out and back. As you inhale, sweep forward and around right. One more time. As you exhale, we'll sweep out and back to your left. And then stay a moment and breathe, just to feel where you feel the breath, the movement of the breath here. And then as you inhale, sweep forward and across to the right. Again, a couple rounds of breath. And then we'll breathe your hands to your mat, framing your front foot, and we'll step back to dog pose. Just a couple rounds of breath, and you've got this little upside down kind of quality to downward dog. How does that impact your breathing? Does it change where you feel it? Does it change the depth of it? And then we'll breathe forward into plank pose. Keep pushing the ground away. Bring your right knee forward, either from here or lowered to table. Step your right foot forward. And then we'll climb your left hand up onto your block again. We'll reach your right arm forward like you're trying to wiggle a little bit of length out of your ribs. And so if you need a higher block to accomplish that, go for it. And then we'll turn the belly and the chest to the right for a little twist. And enjoy your breath. And then when you breathe in, lower two hands to your mat or to low blocks if you need more room. And bring your right foot back, plank pose. Good long push through the arms. Even a little reach the center of your head forward. And then we'll bring your left knee forward. Push, push into the ground. Step your left foot forward. Slide your right hand up onto the block. Breathe your left arm forward. And then find your twist toward the left leg. And again, as you're noticing your breath, just paying attention. What does it feel like on the left side? What does it feel like on the right side? Does it go as high up on one side as the other? Does it feel as free in the twist as it did when you had the knee down and you were just lifting the chest? Next time you breathe in, go ahead and lower your hand down. And let's step back to dog pose and welcome a long breath. Then from here, bring your knees to the ground and come to sit. Again, any place of comfort will do. You could do exactly what we did at the beginning. In fact, that's more or less where I'm going to go. We're going to find your strap again. And we'll do the same thing. We'll crisscross the strap. And so as you crisscross and you pull it pretty taut, give yourself a few rounds of breath. And notice what feels different in your breathing. I can know what feels different in my breathing than when I first did this. And that could be anything from the rhythm to the texture to even where you feel it against the strap. And now let's do what we did before. Start to lift your heart up. And is it possible in this little bit of a back bend to still breathe into the circumference of the strap? And then Go ahead and curl the tail under, let the spine round a bit like a little mini cat pose. Is it possible to breathe into the circumference of the strap? Then bring your pelvis upright. Let's make a little side bend to your right. And what would you need to do here to breathe fully in 360 degrees, fully into the circumference? And then when you breathe in, come all the way up, little side bend the other direction. Where do you need to breathe a little more consciously if we're thinking of breathing 360? And then we'll breathe your way all the way up. Make a twist to your right. And then we'll come through center. We'll make a twist to the left with that same thought. How do you breathe 360? And does it change the depth of your twist in any way? And then we'll breathe back to the center. Go ahead and release your strap and close your eyes or tip your gaze toward the ground. And we'll just take a few moments just to enjoy breathing. And the next time you breathe in, go ahead and slip your eyes open. All right, gang. Thank you so much for joining me for this little mini practice. If you would like to stay longer in your little seated breathing meditation moment, you can. If you want to lie down and take a few minutes of Shavasana, I wouldn't object, and I doubt you will too. um, Anyway, if you found this exploration useful in any way, shape, or form, maybe a connection to your breath, a feeling of groundedness, feeling of presence, whatever. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That helps the page. It helps get Yoga Bliss out there in the world, and more people practicing yoga, and that's only a good thing. All right, stay well, and I will look forward to seeing you real soon. Thanks again.